Planet Dolan. Although you might think humans have already found all there is to find on our planet, we're actually making new discoveries all the time. How many more secrets are hidden all around us? And what have we learnt from all the weird and wonderful stuff we've come across already? Here are 15 of the most bizarre discoveries on Earth. I'm Danger Dolan, and today I will be your narrator.
Number 15.
The Kingdom of Saguenay. The Iroquoians are one of Canada's First Nation people, and 500 years ago, they told the French colonists about the Kingdom of Saguenay. They spoke of tall blonde men with pale skin who wore furs and mined gold and silver. Many historians believed it to be either a miscommunication or the Iroquoians were simply wasting the colonists' time. However, in 1960, L'Anse or Meadows was discovered on the island of Newfoundland, a 1,000-year-old Norse settlement made up of dwellings and metal workshops. So the Vikings had in fact come to the Americas centuries before Columbus.
Number 14.
The Bygone Pipes. Near the start of the Yance River sits White Mountain. It's very inhospitable, but a team of the US were hunting for dinosaur fossils and came across what looked like ancient iron pipes. And these were still a great source of mystery, as we have no idea how they got there. If they were man-made, how did some ancient civilization have the technology for it? But if they are natural, what process caused them to form? Some reports have even said parts of the pipes are highly radioactive.
Number 13.
Giant lemurs. Lemurs are small, cute primates that are only found in the wild on the island of Madagascar.
It's got a gecko on it. Look at them shake! Go, Stevie, go!
They're a cousin of the big-eyed loris, which is where they get their name from, since their Latin lemurs means ghost, thanks to the loris's glowing eyes. But an older relative has been found, and they were enormous. In the Avon Cave, skeletons of a lost race of giant lemurs were found, who were the size of gorillas.
Number 12.
Roman Fedostov. We've barely uncovered all of the mysteries of the oceans, and the deeper it gets, the weirder everything seems to be. Life has adapted to the extreme darkness and pressure with some seriously alien creatures. Russian deep-sea fisherman Roman Fedostov runs a Twitter account where he posts shot after shot of the bizarre and horrifying fish that are hauled up in his nets. You should go check it out.
Number 11.
Costa Rican balls. In the 1930s, the United Fruit Company were clearing jungles in Costa Rica to make way for banana plantations. Among the fallen trees, they made a very weird discovery: giant stone spheres. They were created by the Daku people, whose culture existed from 700 AD to about 1500. They made the balls, some of which are over 2 meters in diameter, by smashing larger rocks together and then polishing them down with sand. Well, you gotta have a hobby of some kind, I guess, don't you?
Number 10.
Cave of the Crystals. The Nica mine in Mexico produced lead, zinc and silver, and in 1910, miners found a giant crystal cave. Without protection, you can only take about 10 minutes inside, since it's about 58 degrees centigrade and has close to 100% humidity. The crystals are enormous, some reaching over 12 meters and weighing about 55 tons. Sadly, you cannot go visit it, as it was only the pumps that kept the water out, and these were turned off in February this year. However, it's been said that if you do explore the cave, you'll probably be transported to the world of Final Fantasy. I'm almost 100% certain about that just looking at the photo.
Number 9.
Socotra is a large island in the Arabian Sea. It's about 130 kilometers long. It's part of the territory of Yemen. Since ancient times, it's been used as a trading post, but there's always been something very strange about the island. It's often described as the most alien place on Earth. In the 1990s, we discovered why. The UN team found over 700 species that were unique to Socotra. Only a handful of places on Earth, like Hawaii, New Zealand, and the Galapagos, hold more, and all of those have a much larger landmass, so all of these weird creatures were living together.
Number 8.
Mount Owen Moa. In 1986, a group of archaeologists in New Zealand came across a very exciting foot. It belonged to a moa, a giant flightless bird that stood about 12 foot high. They became extinct over 2,000 years ago, and okay, you might think, we found the remains from creatures way older than that, why all the excitement? Well, this isn't just some bone fossil. The flesh and muscle are still attached. We've got no idea how this claw survived the ravages of time, basically mummified.
Number 7.
Speaking of mummified, the Screaming Mummy, which is called Man-E. It's a corpse discovered in 1886 by Gaston Maspero. His sarcophagus was unmarked, so it's likely he wasn't anyone important. However, he had a very unusual characteristic. He had been mummified with his face locked into a scream. This was much more than decay or rigor mortis could do, so it's believed he would either have been poisoned or buried alive.
Number 6.
The Yonaguni Monument, near the Ryukyu Islands in Japan, a series of mysterious geometric shapes were discovered. It's called the Yonaguni Monument. You can see the columns, walls, and star shape, various other shapes made out of rock and resting on the seafloor. Many have markings scratched onto the sides. We're still not sure if they're natural or man-made. Are they just rocks that cracked in an earthquake and scratched each other as they fell? Or is it the remains of an ancient civilization?
Number 5.
FINGAL'S Cave. Thanks to computer design, we're programmed to believe that anything that is highly regular or symmetrical must be man-made in some way. But the stones in FINGAL'S Cave have existed long before our monkey ancestors fell from the trees. Discovered in 1772, this basalt stone cave in Scotland is packed with hexagonal columns that look like they must have been created, but it's actually the result of the way the lava flow settled and cracked.
Number 4.
Shambhala. Caves were found in the Himalayan mountains in 2008. They contain manuscripts and paintings made on the rock walls. It was also clear that the caves have been made by man rather than nature. What makes this discovery bizarre though is that it fits with a lot of legend about Shangri-La, an ancient Himalayan kingdom that was supposed to be just fantasy. The old Tibetan texts talk of a city placed within the hollow earth, matching the caves. They also found a pile of 600-year-old skeletons.
Number 3.
Speaking of skeletons, headless Vikings. Historically, Vikings have always been thought of as the aggressors, the guys who turned up at ancient villages and went about pillaging, burning, generally ruining the local house prices. However, one discovery in the UK really flipped this on its head. In the seaside town of Weymouth, 51 young male Vikings were dug up in a slaughter pit, where their heads were stacked neatly away from their bodies. So perhaps the brutality wasn't as one-sided as we previously believed.
Number 2.
Pea-sized frog. Frogs are known as being pretty small, but the Microhylia nepenthicola takes this to a whole new level. When they were first found, it was assumed they were juveniles, but it turns out that a full-sized adult will only grow to just about a centimeter. They were discovered in 2010 on the Asian island of Borneo, although it's thought that there are some examples in old museum collection, mistakenly labelled as examples of young frogs.
Number 1.
The M drive. This scientific discovery seems to defy the laws of physics. The M drive is an experimental space engine that could use solar power to create microwaves. These microwaves go into a blunted cone chamber called a resonant cavity thruster. The microwaves bounce off the walls and create a larger force, one at the wide end and the other at the narrow end. Why it does this is a big argument. Some say it's down to an as yet unknown proven concept called unradiation, which is predicted by Einstein's general relativity but hasn't been observed so far. Apparently the Chinese were already doing it in tests in space. This video was made possible by our fans over on Patreon. Thanks for your support, guys. That is it for this countdown. Have a good one!